that recording? Yep. All right, so I'm not going to include my voice.
Right.
Right. All right. This is the Stephanie interview, take one. And I'm one take Jake, so this is it.
That works.
All right, so how long have you worked for Adjust You?
I've worked for Adjust You for 3 months now.
And what is your job title?
I am the executive assistant to President Gene Strother and Vice President Jonathan Rice.
What was your goal going into the Claims Adjusting 101 class?
My goal going into the Claims Adjusting 101 class was just to absorb as much knowledge as possible.
Did you have any point of reference for the content, or was this a brand new experience?
This was a brand new experience to me. I did not have any point of reference for the content whatsoever.
So how did you feel about it going in?
Going in, I initially felt a little intimidated. As a novice, I was a little concerned that I might become easily overwhelmed, but thankfully that was not the case.
Tell me about the online portion of the class.
I thoroughly enjoyed the online portion of the class. I thought the videos were interesting and they kept me engaged. There was a lot of really good information about policy and some really good information about roofing materials and construction basics that proved to be really helpful once we were in person in class.
In circling. Did you know anything about construction before you took this job?
I can't say that I knew very much about construction at all before taking this job.
So after you took the online portion, then you spent a week in class. What about the in-class instruction? What would you say about that experience?
The in-class instruction was really great. We, really dove right in on day one, and I definitely felt a little overwhelmed leaving day one, but once we came back, each day just got better and better, and I took away so much information that just continued to make it all make sense.
So, I'm going to insert another.
Mm-hmm.
So, going in, you were a little intimidated, but by the end you felt confident. Right?
Yes.
So, what was it about? What happened during that time to take you from the feeling intimidated to gaining confidence that you were mastering the understanding of being an adjuster?
I think it was, I guess it was just diving in on day one was a lot of absorbing information, and then as we progressed, it was kind of putting it all together that helped it make sense for me. So what seemed like a lot of information that I didn't understand initially came together to make so much sense just as we progressed throughout the week. So we would, work in Xactimate, and that helped me understand other pieces of it. And then as we progressed to going into the mock-up room and learning about materials and other aspects of it there, it just all made sense as we progressed.
So what would you say about Jonathan Rice as an instructor? What would you say about him as an instructor?
Jonathan Rice is an amazing instructor. I had heard lots of really good feedback from our students, and experiencing it for myself was no different. He's really passionate about what he does, and that comes through in his instruction. He keeps it lighthearted and fun, which is nice when you're learning something like Xactimate. But he really makes you put in the work, and it pays off.
Is there anything that makes him kind of unique, different from other instructors that you've been exposed to?
His energy just does a lot for kind of keeping your motivation, where it needs to be to continue to absorb all of the information that's being thrown at you, which is a lot, but he makes it interesting and fun to learn.
So then Paul Griff comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and be sure and use his name. So tell me about Paul as an instructor and what it was like to transition from Jonathan to Paul, for the day of hands-on.
Sure. Paul Griff was fantastic. It was really good timing in terms of breaking up the 5-day process of learning, and about midway through the week, Paul came in, and I learned so much from him about the importance of being methodical and thorough, and he really adds a lot to the Xactimate piece of it too, in terms of properly utilizing calculations and variables.
What about his personality? How does that play into his effectiveness?
Paul has a really refined teaching style. He, just has this very calm, humble way of explaining things to you. And on a personal level, I learned a lot from him and his style as well, because he's just so gracious and so kind.
Well, you nailed him. So on Friday, you guys were actually taken out into the field, right?
Right.
To a real family's home, and you got up on a real roof. And what was that like for you individually, and what did you learn while you were there?
So climbing a roof was fun to me. It was really important to me to get everything that I could out of this experience. So I was determined to get on the roof, and I did. I learned a lot about how challenging it can be to stay focused in that setting, and making sure that you, again, are just thorough and gather all the information that you need in that one trip, as well as the hands-on learning as far as assessing roof damage and obtaining proper measurements.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, how you felt once the class was concluded versus how you felt going in?
So once the class was concluded, I felt really proud of myself. I was proud of the progress that I made, and I felt really confident in the skills that I had acquired.
That's good. Do you recommend adjusting 101 to new and prospective adjusters? If so, why?
I absolutely recommend adjusting 101 to new and prospective adjusters, because there's so much to learn and take away from this class and these amazing instructors that are industry leaders and are willing to share their valuable tips and tricks on how to be successful in this business.
I told you, one take, Jay. If the camera did its job,
I
then we
hope
did
so.
ours. Let's